everyone. Welcome to the Fandom Family Chats. I'm Shelby, your host for today's episode, and Melanie is here with me as well.
Hi.
Today we have something really fun and exciting for you. From one of our favorite TV shows, This Is Us, welcome our guest, Vien home. Vien plays Hi on the show. How are you today?
Hi, I'm good. Sweaty. It's so hot here.
I bet. So we have a few questions for you. The first one is, what is your favorite memory from being on the set of This Is Us?
Oh gosh. I have quite a few, but one of them is just this to sit in our little cubicles. We have these, it's COVID, so they would build these 4 foot by 4 foot cubicles for us made out of wood, and it's got plexiglass on the sides and a shower curtain, a see-through shower curtain. So that's your personal space, and no one can go through there without your permission. So hair and makeup, they have to have a mask on and a shield if they need to come through. And, so they touch you up. And after that, everyone leaves you alone and you're left to your script and your coffee or your energy drink if you drink, and then everyone's separated, so they all have their own personal space. And of course the nicest thing is that Sterling's next to me making faces, and then of course Susie's next to me on the other side. And so you feel like this, even though you're divided, you feel this love, and you're about to go on set and you're just memorizing you're just going through the final stages of your lines before you walk to the set together.
That's awesome. It sounds like even though you guys were kind of separated, like there was still kind of a family, I don't think orientation is really the word, but like a family vibe going on, even though you guys were all separated. You knew that like you were welcome there and everything.
Oh, absolutely. It's I've been in the business since I started my first film in '87. And I have to say that this is probably the most family, the most welcoming. I mean, all the other sets, for the most part, everyone's very welcoming. But on this one, it's probably the most that I've ever experienced. You feel that loved, when you're there. Oh gosh, I just had the Olive Garden. When you're there, your family. No, it's you're there, and Sterling is so gracious. He talks to you, he chats with you, even if you're, oh gosh, my language coach, my Vietnamese dialect coach. She's the coach. He even went up to her and talked to her, and that's how he loves everybody. He'll come up to you, he'll talk to you, find out about yourself, and he'll remember you also from these things. And when you're on the set, if you've been approached and if you chatted with Sterling, you've been stirled. There's a terminology that they use on the set. You have been stirled. So as you can see, I'm normally I don't stutter and I don't have mispronunciation on my words, but thinking about the whole experience again gets me all like wound up and kind of nervous, because you're like a kid on the set. You're like a kid. I it's like Disneyland, Magic Mountain, and Toys R Us together. And so you're there, you're like, and it's like, it feels like Christmas morning. That's what it feels like when you're on the set. Yeah.
When you were on with This Is Us, well, first off, you fit in right with us, because I know me and Shelby were talking before how nervous we were to interview you.
Oh, I'm nervous right now. As you can see, I'm like, I've been here 41 years and I don't have an accent, but right now it kind of comes out now and then. I'm being nervous.
Yeah. So that was a question I had. I know you were born in Vietnam, so you knew Vietnamese before you got the script, correct?
Yes.
I know sometimes, yeah. Cool. So me and you have something in common.
Oh,
Not a lot, but it's something small. So
oh, I love
I was a theater
surprises. What is it?
major. I was a theater major in college,
Nice.
at Cincinnati Conservatory of Music, CCM,
Wow.
for people that don't know, which is
Uh-huh.
one of the better ones in the country, for theater and music. And I ended up changing my major, and I basically have gone on a 20-year hiatus. And
Wow.
I know you had mentioned that you were on a 20-year hiatus as
Uh-huh.
well,
Yes.
or pretty close to that, from acting. And so I'm about ready to do a play. So do you have any advice for someone that maybe is getting back into theater or
Have fun.
acting?
Have fun. You know what? Warm up your voice. Do your stretches. Warm up your voice.
Mhm.
Take a nice warm shower before that, or a hot shower. Um, Lotion your face. Do your voice warm up exercises. Remember the mouse, the lion, the mouse, the lion. Get that
Right.
facial, everything going, and then when you're into it, just have fun. Yeah, and of course, the basics, as listen to your partner, and that's it. I was off camera for over 15 years. And when I got it, they threw me back on the set. It's like, you know, so it was just, I'm sure you're gonna experience what I experienced, but gosh, congratulations, and
Oh,
have
thank you.
fun. Have fun.
Thank you. I will. I will try. I know for me, it was sort of my daughter was getting into theater. She's 14, so she did. She was getting into theater and doing stuff, and so there was an opportunity for an intergenerational play, Children of Eden. So I joined the
Nice.
cast for that. And so, like, I was just wondering. I mean, I know kind of the pandemic is a very strange time to maybe decide to go back. What propelled you into going back into to
Um,
acting or
Gosh, let's see. Oh, that's gonna be a long one. Cut me off if I go on and on. Let's see. Well, I decided 15 years ago to take a hiatus to raise a family. And so, we wanted children. So a lot of actors, the ones that I know, um, either they don't have children and they go through and pursue acting and stay with it, or they leave the business to have a family. And if they find a better job or something else that they rather do, then of course they would leave the business. And some would do both, and they juggle. And for myself, juggling, oh, it's hard. It's really hard to do that. And at the same time, my wife was going through school to become a nurse. Well, recently, but what I did was I told myself 20 years. I'm going to take 20 years off, raise a family. I don't want to hear anything about acting. I will choose and pick the movies I want to see and the TV shows I want to see. And if someone mentions somebody else, a name of the show or the movie, I just pretty much, la 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 la, I can't hear you. Don't don't ruin it. But the thing was, being a theater person, I went to work for 15 years. Every day, I thought of acting every day. Billboards you see, everything, and it's hard. It is hard. That's all I think about: acting, cars, and reptiles. Those are the three, and of course, my children and my wife. She's down there getting ready for work. Um, so it was hard. But I was at the beach, and I tried to take my children, COVID time. So every weekend we would go to the beach, and I would have them run around, and I would sit there and take pictures, or I would just sit there and contemplate on, or just reflect on my week. And I work for an insurance company, so it's pretty stressful. So I'm there, and a friend of mine called me. She said, "Hey, this is us looking for someone to play a grandpa. They haven't found anyone. Um, you should audition." I said, "I've never even played a dad, let alone a grandpa. I thought, what am I going to do? I don't know what it's like to be a grandpa. I can try." She said, you should. You really should, because you're going to regret it if you don't." So I thought, oh gosh, I don't know. I'm 15 year into it. I have 5 more years to go. I don't want to, So I said, okay, I will audition. And so I decided to bring my kids into it because they've never seen me audition before. We would go to Walgreens and we would buy eyeliner pencils. And I said, yeah, eyeliner pencils. And so we bought eyeliner pencils and brushes and things like that, and some white spray. But the spray was not very good. So I thought, oh gosh, since I work around automotive, I should use spray paint. I was going to actually spray a brush with silver paint and comb it through my hair. And I thought, oh gosh, COVID, no one's going to look at me. My wife doesn't look at me. She's busy. She's a nurse. She's working double, triple shifts. And my son said, well, it's going to be really hard to get it off and you're going to have to shave. And I thought, yeah, okay. He's a smart 15-year-old. So what I would do is, I would paint my face and then of course my wife on her way home, she goes, it's about to be Halloween. They should have, white spray for the hair. So she picked up some white spray. So for 2 days, I slept like maybe 4 hours on 2 nights to age myself. And I would age myself and, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, I would literally, like my grandpa used to do, I would literally walk to the bathroom. Even if I didn't have to go to the bathroom, I would set the alarm. I would walk to the bathroom and I would do everything that your grandpa would do. I stand there in front of the toilet and, and I go, this is what it feels like for grandpa. And then I would go back to bed and then I would wake up again. So I would wake up often, because old people, they stand there forever and they don't pee. So anyways, I do all these things. And then of course, my kids, I gave them, I gave them the tweezers so they would thin out my eyebrows and they would thin out my hair also. And of course, between that and stress from working in insurance, my hair's receding a little bit. And so I thought, okay, all right, cool. And so when the day came, I would watch a YouTube tutorial, paint my face with all these eyeliner pencils, and we would tape the scenes. And of course, we would tape it, but we would tape it at nighttime. So that way, I can, side light myself to show all the flaws on my face. I would pinch my face to get the red spots, and I would put more sunspots on my face because he's a fisherman, Hi's a fisherman. And I would stare into the camera. And of course, it's 3 a.m, you're tired. So I would stare into it and then I would do the scene. And when I sent away, they liked the scenes. And so they sent me more scenes. So I thought, oh, great. So I would sleep another probably 3 hours. So in 4 days, I slept 7 hours. And I did this thing. And yeah, and so my eyes, I would have allergies. I wouldn't take allergy meds. And so I would just leave it alone. And, my eyes red. And I would do the scenes and had my sons help me out. And I sent it in. And they had a Zoom session with me. It's called a work session where they give you directions and see if you can, take directions. And they pretty much put all the hurdles out there. And we just worked. And then after that, the internet wasn't good, so they weren't able to get a full recording. So I had to redo it that night and send it over. So by this time, I'm just so tired. So I sent it out. I said, okay, it's up to the universe now. And so they came back and, when I asked them, I said, what's the character about? And I didn't realize that, I'd never seen the show much before this. I say, what's the character about? He said, oh, I can't tell you, tell me a little bit about yourself. So when someone asks you to tell a bit about yourself, that's a good thing in this business because they're really, really interested. So I told them, well, I was born during the Vietnam War. I went through when the communists came in Vietnam. That was in 1975. I lived through 4.5 years of communism, and that was hell. And then our family left on a boat with about 250 to 300 people on a fishing boat converted into a taxi boat. And we went to Malaysia. Along the way, we faced a lot of hardship. And when the government didn't want us, there, they put us back on the boat. They towed us out to the ocean, told us to go to Indonesia, and we put along to Indonesia, and then the engine died. So I was stranded out in the ocean for 14 and a half days, no water, no food. And as a child, I drank my urine. I recycled my urine to stay alive.
My
And
gosh.
yeah, and so my
Wow.
father, yeah, my father, he was sick and he was being treated on a ship from the United States, and my mother always knew he wanted to come to the United States. You know, we had silverware in Vietnam that was made in the USA, and that was, you know, a big thing. We were upper middle class, and so, you know, I hated chopsticks growing up. I was basically a black sheep of the family. I hated the norm. Everyone used chopsticks. I hated using chopsticks, and I never learned how to hold chopsticks right. So my dad would always, you know, call me out on it. And so I didn't care. I always used spoons and forks. And so in the back, it's made in USA. And I, as a child, you know, I did not know what that was. But when the communists came in, you know, in class, during drawing in class, I would draw, you know, Huey choppers and tanks. And so I would put on the turret made in USA, or the rudder on the, I think that's what you call it, on a chopper made in USA. So I would get called up to the front of the class, put out your hand, and they whack you with a ruler. And so both sides, and I go home, I could barely hold my school bag. Um, and they say that was bad. I thought that was something good, because if we had it, it's got to be good. How come these communist teachers say it is bad? You know, things like that. And then my father always loved the United States, wanted to come to the United States. So he brought all his children, except my oldest brother, to the United States, and decided to plant us in the United States. And what we would do is become doctors, engineers, and, you know, blend into society, and become Americans. And so that's what I told them. And he said, "Wow, this is great." So what the casting person did was, you know, he asked me, he said, "Hey, put this into writing." And so I've never learned to type, which is terrible. When in the 80s, you know, a buddy of mine say, "What are you going to be, a secretary when you grow up?" I said, "No, I'm going to be an actor." He said, "Well, someone would type for you." I was like, "Okay, but then I won't take typing. I'll take, you know, I'll take electronics. I'll take theater." My wife was about to go to work, so I had her type for me, and so I dictated. So they, you know, they asked me to put into writings, so I would quickly, of course. So I would have her type, and I would email it out. And so he sent it out to the producers and the, you know, director and everybody and the writers, and he came back and said, "Hey, they really like it. You know, we want you to do the role, but you know, we don't have any concrete numbers yet." So that's when I realized, oh, okay, maybe that's the character then. So that was the character. You know, he came to the United States, decided to pursue the American dream, and he worked hard. And that was basically me. So, you know, so I thought, oh, okay, what are the chances of that? You know, 15 years from hiatus, here's a role that suddenly, you know, a friend of mine called me out of the blue saying, "Hey, you should audition." And I auditioned, and that's basically me, my family. So, so they offered some numbers, and I didn't have an agent. And so I made some phone calls. So a friend called a friend, another friend called another friend, and within 15 minutes, my agent Kelly from Pantheon Talents, she emailed me and said, "Hey, you know, here to help. What do you need?" And so it's one of those things, when you know the right people, you just, you know, friends helping friends. And within 15 minutes, I was able to get an agent to negotiate for me all the numbers and everything.
That's
So,
amazing. It sounds like it was meant to be.
you know, I used to not think that things were meant to be, but after that, I thought, I think this is it. I think things are meant to be, you know. And that's what my son said too. He's 11. He said, "Yeah, it's meant to be." He goes, "What are you going to do now?" I said, "I'm going to go have fun." So,
Well, good. We're so glad that you got the role. You played it amazingly.
oh, thank you. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you.
So another question for you. I know that you have talked a lot about Sterling and Susie. Have you gotten a chance to really work with any of the other people that were in the show other than just them?
Just them, because
Um,
all the scenes that you see, yeah. Um, the actress that played my granddaughter, she was amazing also. So much energy, so uh, God, she endowed in all the moments. Yeah, and she was born here, so she had to learn Vietnamese
oh
fast.
wow.
Yeah, yeah. Um, that one, there's a Vietnamese, there's northern accent and the southern accent. I decide I'm from the South, and so I decide to give Hai a northern accent. But when the day came around, her mother had taught her so with the southern accent, the Vietnamese. So I had to switch it around. So on the day of shoot, I had to go, oh shoot, I can't use that word. I have to use another word, and I would have to tone down my everything else. And so I flipped the accent to the southern Vietnamese accent. And so
Oh
that was
wow.
quite a challenge also. So that plus not being on camera for 15 years, and and you have to hit your marks, you got to walk up, hit your marks, and turn by this line, turn this way so that the camera can get your profile, and have to catch the fish, animatronic fish, a certain way and hold it a certain way, and you know uh do the lines, everything.
Mhm.
And so all the mechanical stuff plus the emotional stuff plus certain things. And so between takes, the dialect coach, Elise, amazing dialect coach, she would come in and say, hey, say it this way. And so you're like, okay, I got to remember this. And cameras left, cameras right, and people just pretty much there's a lot going on, and there's got to be at least 75 to 100 and some people behind you.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, it's a lot of fun when you just have to like focus on what you're doing.
Um, is it safe to say, like, I know I've read articles about Dan Fogelman, the creator, and it sounds like he's pretty secretive. Do you know if we'll see Hai at all anymore in the future?
That I'm not sure. I did have a if I may share this, Grace Wu, the EVP casting of Warner Brothers, had a meeting with me on Zoom, and you know she told me that the show has two very important episodes. One is called Memphis, where he found his father, and the other one's called New Orleans, where he found his mother. And those are the two of their most important episodes. And they wanted to see if I could handle it and carry all the warmth and everything in the character. And that she told me that the creators are very unpredictable, so anything can happen. So she basically said to me that, um, in for lack of a better phrase, that I'm pretty much on the map. So NBC would like to have a working relationship with me. Nothing was promised, but with that said, I haven't cut my hair. It's still the same. This here, oh my gosh, I can't grow a mustache, a beard to save my life. This has been since beginning of last October. So Um, so I keep myself like this to see, in case he goes back, then makeup wouldn't have to uh, work so hard.
Well, he does own a house there, so I guess any point. um, maybe you'll get to meet some of the other cast too.
Oh, that would be nice. The house that on the show, they built a house from scratch in Whittier, California. So the New Orleans Randall's mother's house uh,
Mhm.
was built in Whittier. It was at a park.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I met the person that built the house, and we were there at, oh gosh, at the Paramount employee studio. I was buying T-shirts for my sister, and you know the manager told him that, hey, the gentleman's from This Is Us. So he walked over and introduced himself. And I was, he built the house. He built my houseboat, so I got to see the pictures of the house before I got there. And so that was the house, the outside, built the outside. And then of course the inside was at the studio. It was at the, oh my gosh, Sunset Gower studio. So we had a base camp at Paramount Studio, and they would shuttle us over to the other side, which is about 7 to 10 minutes away, depending on traffic. It's only a couple miles away, Sunset Gower. And then, of course, the exterior was shot of the house, shot in Whittier.
I just want to do a shout out to your wife, who is one of our COVID heroes. She's working in a hospital. So I did see that on your page. I just wanted to.
Oh, thank you.
I'm sure you're very proud of her. I had a question. Do you kind of with that, has she had people come up to her, coworkers and whatnot about you being on the show, or have you been recognized at all?
She has, but she's like, oh yeah, he's doing what he loves. My wife keeps me, my wife and my kids, they keep my toes on the ground, which they already are. So I'm just fortunate enough to got hired on and do what I love, but she's like, yeah, I'll tell him, but she sometimes forgets, she's like, oh yeah, by the way, coworker said, they love the episode. And I said, oh, like that. And recognized, the funny thing is I'm not much of a social media person, but I didn't know how to open up a page on Facebook. So I went and got a bunch of people added me after the first and the second show on Facebook. And I thought, okay, I got to be polite. I got to add everybody. And a friend of mine, she said, well, what about your personal life? You're not going to have a personal life. You're going to have everybody here. You're not going to be able to see other people's feeds. And so I started a sister account. And a lot of people added me there too. And plus my high school friends and other people said, oh, hey, Vien's on, let's add him. So people are like, oh, is there some sort of someone stealing your identity? I said, no, that's me. That's me with long hair. And then another friend said, well, you could start up a business page, like a fan page, then ask people to like. I thought, oh, okay. So I start that up. And one of the fans of the show said, I was going to cancel the sister account, but she said, some people might get offended if you do that, why don't you just leave it there? I said, okay, great. Okay, I'll just leave everything alone. And now I have 3 things going on Facebook. And someone said, oh, you have to do an Instagram and a Twitter. And I said, oh my gosh, I had Instagram, which I've never used. And so I went on and I put up a few things. And someone said, oh my God, or something like, are you Slosh? Are you Slosh from Glory Days? I did a film with, pardon me for name dropping, in 1994, I did a film with Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, Matthew McConaughey, Sam Rockwell. He won an Academy Award a couple years ago, I think. Oh my gosh, John Rhys Davies from Lord of the Rings. He was, oh gosh, I forget the character name. It's on the tip of my tongue. He said, and my battle axe. Alyssa Milano was in it, and just a bunch of very talented people. Brendan Fraser, if I have not mentioned him. It was a movie about a bunch of roommates, either separating after graduation from UC Santa Cruz, or just hang around for one more year and party. So I played a computer science major turned stoner, but in the film he was a drunk because the director didn't want kids to smoke. So he became a drunk, like a Charles Bukowski type of drunk. That movie is now a cult movie. And that was in 94. We finished in 95, and when the movie aired, I thought, okay, this is my chance. That was my first takeoff. I thought, and of course back then it didn't do as well as I had thought it was going to be. So I career didn't take off. and so, but it became a cult movie. And people recognized me. They put two and two together. Oh my God, you're the guy from Glory Days. And that was back in 1994. That's a long time ago. And and of course, somewhere where I go, and people said, of course, with mask on and with my voice, someone recognized my voice, said, you have a familiar voice. So I took a step back. I took my mask off, and he asked me to take my mask off for him. So I took a step back, and 7 feet away, took my mask off, and he said, "Hey, you're that guy. Hi, hi." And so I said, "Oh yeah, hi, hi." So like maybe 4 people. So I'm sorry, I went
No,
all
don't
the way
worry
around.
about don't worry about name dropping. I was actually going to ask you about Glory Days because
Uh-huh.
it's kind of one of these. It was one that we watched a lot in college.
Oh,
I was in
wow.
well, I was in college. I mean, I'm 40, so I was in college,
Uh-huh.
back in the 2000s, early 2000s. So yeah, we watched a lot. It's always funny because it's always one of those movies, kind of like The Outsiders, that would be like impossible to make now because the budget would be so high, like.
Wow. That's what a coincidence. Yeah, that was another good project to work on. Rich Wilkes, who wrote that, he went on to write a bunch of stuff, The Green Hornet and things like that. Adam Sandler, he co-wrote Billy Madison. He wrote Triple X with Vin Diesel. And he wrote a Motley Crue movie a couple years ago on, I think it was about a year ago on Netflix. Yeah, very talented person. Bunch of just talented people. Of course, Ben and Matt went on to do um, many things, and he's got the Oscars. They have Oscars, and then Sam Rockwell, whom a while back I said, hey, why don't you do some mainstream movie? He goes, no, I like doing art movies. I say, yeah, I think you're gonna get a trophy one day. And of course, he did was that 3 Billboards, and he picked up an Oscar for it. Very talented, just amazing group of people. These are the people that you see, from time to time, and they're like, hey, how you doing? Like no time had passed. So these are the one nice thing about this business, that once in a while you come across some really, really genuine people.
Amanda, you've been kind of quiet. Do you have any questions?
No, I'm letting you guys do this. I'll jump in.
Oh, Amanda, ask away. I feel like I'm talking too much. In fact, if I do, just say shut up. My wife does it, so.
No, you're being perfect. We like hearing what you have to say.
Did I tell you? Sterling and Susie and I went to the same college.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
a small world.
Yeah, on the final day of shooting, there was 22 scenes for me. I had 22 scenes, and some scenes were just one sentence. When we're in our cubicle, I walked by and Sterling said, hey, where did you study theater? I said, oh, New York. He said, oh, where? So I said, NYU. He said, Tish? I said, yeah. He goes, me too. And Susie. So they went to grad school there. I went to undergrad. And so for the next 10 hours, we're sitting at the dinner table, at the table, and we talked up a storm. There's so much we have in common. Sterling used to live less than a mile away from me. And when I used to work in insurance, I would park my insurance car right around his neighborhood. And I would wave to the neighbors sometimes because, I worked there for about 4 years, and walk down, and I might have waved to him without knowing that was Sterling. So he had moved on to a bigger house. I think it's bigger. It has to be bigger. And then his 2 kids, and we talked about reptiles and everything, and it was just man, we talked about the New York days, grad school projects that they did, and so we went there in different times, but once you're at NYU, it's like a close-knit family.
I bet.
That's
That's
awesome.
wonderful.
And Kay, our director, writer, producer, she's an amazing writer. It's nice to also have a writer who's also a director. We can change lines on the fly, on the set. If things don't, if certain words need to be added, you don't need to go to somebody else. You can just right there whisper to her, say, hey, can I change the line to this? Can I do this? This feels more comfortable to me. May I? Oh yeah, do it. And and Angela, um, Angela Gibbs. She played High's ex-girlfriend. She's the older Lauren. What an amazing person to work with. Every scene, she's so endowed in the moment. Um, a little story on that. When I first saw her, I thought, oh my God, Angela, that's Marla Gibbs's daughter. Marla Gibbs played Florence on the Jeffersons. And when we first came to the States, we watch a lot of TV shows. And that's how I learned my, my English mostly, by watching a lot of TV, Sesame Street and a lot of the Jeffersons and Three's Company and all the other stuff, Laverne Shirley. So I couldn't wait to get it off my chest. The van took us from Paramount over to Sunset Gower, and only two of us were in the van because we all have to be 6 feet apart in the van. So I said, Angela, I got to get something off my chest before we work together today. I said, your mom, oh my God, I learned English from watching your mom, and I love her character so much that I try to be like her character in the family. And I have 5 older siblings who beat the crap out of me every time I was a smart ass to them. Oh, can you say that? so I said, oh my gosh, this is so great. And we're keeping in touch. She said, yeah, when COVID is over, come on over to meet her mom. And we're gonna meet her mom, and we're gonna go have Vietnamese food after COVID is over. So it's like little things that on the set that just, it's just from the cast to even the crew members. I mean, everyone is so nice on the set, and they have this policy of only nice people working on on the show. So they weed out like all the everybody else, and now you have like, it's like a core. And when you have to work 14 to even 20 hours, the crew, everyone is like, it's a really well-oiled machine. Well-oiled machine. It's just, yeah, I can't wait. I keep keeping my fingers crossed, hoping that that I'll go back soon.
That's great. It's good that they have it set up that way so that you're comfortable.
Yeah. And on the set, they have the A zone, and I think it's the B zone, where the actors go on the set, everyone move out of the way, actors are going through, and so that way they won't have you mingle with um, I think the B zone or C zone people, they probably COVID test like maybe once a week or twice a week, and then actors we do 3 times per week, and then we have to be held in our little terrariums, and if we come in contact with anybody, they'll know how to trace things. So when one of the crew members tested positive for COVID, they traced back and contacted all the people that crossed paths with this person, and everybody had to quarantine for 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like that. And of course, your trailer, they limit going into the trailer, where a lot of times you need something, they'll give it to you, and you take it inside. Like right now, I'm working on a TV show called Animal Kingdom with Ellen Barkin. My trailer is my trailer, and if they need to put wardrobe, on the trailer, on the doorknob, they have tape over that, so you can't break the seal. So whatever they have for me as far as wardrobe goes, it goes in the rack outside of my trailer, and I would take all that inside, I change and everything, and I take everything, put it on the outside, so no one goes in there. Yeah, and of course, on This Is Us, the makeup trailer, every time you go in and they put makeup and they do hair and everything, they have to like disinfect everything before the next person comes in. So basically, yeah, it's just amazing how, everyone's learning ways of working around COVID. And it's really hard to get one episode made because it's just all these things that push everything back. So anyone that approaches the actors would have to wear a shield and a mask, even directors. Um, yeah. And then of course, when you're finished, they have to go in to do the set. They would move you to your cubicle, and then the team would come in and arrange everything. And then when they're ready, make sure that everything is good, they put you back in, and everyone mask and everything, mask, shield, to protect the to protect everybody, I guess.
Yes, of course. Safety should be first.
Yeah, that's why it's so long to shoot an episode. And sometimes, with the second wave of COVID, I noticed the fans are saying, "Oh gosh, no new episode. What the heck?" It's really it's a lot of work to finish just one episode. And This Is Us, was lucky enough to be able to get a few episodes in there before the second wave came. And so that's why you're able to get episodes 3, 4, 5, and 6.
We're
Yeah,
lucky.
I know a lot of people like on our page and stuff complain about them not being a new episode. And I mean, I'm sure that with Mandy being pregnant too made things more difficult because I'm sure she didn't want to be around all that.
I think so. Speaking of Mandy, she just got her hair done, and then I was next, and they sprayed it down, and so I went to sit in the makeup chair, and it was warm. I was like, "Oh, Mandy was just here. Oh, this is from Mandy." So not to, I told my wife, I said, "Yeah, I sat in the chair where Mandy sat." It was still warm. I'm like, "Oh, this is the closest I'll get to Mandy," because we all have different scenes, And of course, one time she went in to do voiceover work, and I saw her lunchbox. She had a Tupperware on there, says Mandy on there, and she was having some sort of a salad, and that was right next to my cubicle. So that was the closest that I got to Mandy. But I'm sure, if and when they have me back, I'm sure I might have scenes here and there with the rest of the cast.
Is there anything about the storyline with High that you would change if you could? Or did you pretty much like how they
Portrayed.
what did you say, Amanda?
Portrayed the character.
Portrayed your character. Thank you.
Oh, sure. You know what? It was quite well written. I, maybe explore more on his relationship with his wife a little bit, with his wife, because pretty much, "Oh yeah, this is my wife. Oh, she died, and here I am." That's my thing. Maybe explore a little bit more with his wife and his children. Just that part. Who knows? Maybe that's coming up. But everything else, the storytelling, I thought is really well written. It's probably one of the better characters I've played in the last oh my gosh, since '87. So
That's nice to hear.
yeah, and of course between then and now, I've done a lot of voiceover work, where I'm working a regular job, but still, I still do voiceover work. And with voiceover work, when they have something, and they know you, they'll call you and say, "Hey, are you available next Friday?" And so you just make time for it. Use your sick day, or use your vacation day to do that. So that helps to pay the bills as well.
I know before when we reached out to you, you had mentioned that you were on set, I believe, Animal Kingdom. Would you like to tell us a little bit about your new project?
Oh yeah. I can't talk too much about it because it's not aired. I pretty much play an emotionally abused older brother who's a gemologist. So thing was, to get this role, I ordered on Amazon. I ordered a couple of loops, diamond loops, 3, in fact. I took my wife's engagement ring. I'm like, oh, how do you do this? And so with YouTube, because I'm hands-on, whatever I'm playing, I like to, I like to get into it, and not just, I have friends who are great at, putting the mask on, taking the mask off, and said, hey, it's acting, boom, on. I can't do that, myself. I'm from the the I'm from the school, of thinking where, you take time and you go into it and you take a little time to come out of it. So I would buy a loop, and with my wife's engagement ring, I'm looking at loops and everything, things like that. And I, for this role, he's a schleppy. The word is schleppy. How they describe the character. So I didn't shower for 4 days. I didn't wash my hair. I didn't shower, and it was hot. And I went to work. Worked at home in insurance, and so so I just sweated and everything. And I wore the same shirt for 4 days, and I would sleep on the sofa. I would eat dinner, and I wouldn't even brush my teeth. And I know it's terrible. I would just sleep on the ground. I would just sit there and I would just doze off. So for 4 days, I did that, and
How does your wife feel about that?
she goes to work and she goes to she goes to sleep, and she's very supportive. She's like, yeah, leave him alone. He's up to something. Don't disturb him. So I would just sleep on the floor, and I would just sleep leaning against the sofa for 4 days. And I told my son, I said, we're going to record the scene at 4 a.m. You have my permission not to go to school the next day if you're tired. And so we record the scene. I said, we're going to do 2 takes, and that's it. So we did 2 takes, and the character was drinking in the scene, so he was kind of drunk. So at 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm slurring my words a little bit, and I did the same fashion as I would with the character High, and I sent it away. Didn't hear. A week later, I didn't hear, so I thought, okay, I didn't get it. And so you start to doubt yourself. You started to think, oh, should I have picked this choice or that choice? And a week and a half later, my agent sent an email saying, hey, you got the part. So I'm like, oh, great. So we're shooting in Oceanside, and all around LA. So that character is a lot of fun to play. And he has no accent, which is kind of cool to do. I've done all sorts of accents, and with this one, no accent is fun because, this, and the guys I work with, oh, these guys are amazing. The actor that played Pope and Jay, I worked with those 2 so far, just phenomenal actors. We're talking Finn Cole, who's English. He puts an American accent on, and he just very subtle, extremely subtle. And these guys are like top notch, and he's very young too. So that's it's funny. With This Is Us, season 5, episodes 3, 4, 5, and 6. With Animal Kingdom is season 6, episodes 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I'm hoping somewhere there might be a TV show on the season 7, hopefully, and then I'll be able to do that.
That'll be good.
Yeah.
We'll watch.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna, after this, I want to pack up and I go down to Oceanside, which is about 2 hours from here, and stay in a hotel from Sunday all the way to next Friday. I'll be down there shooting one of the scenes for episode 4 on Monday, coming back Tuesday night. And then, of course, I have a little studio that I built here. I'm working on a voiceover job for Wednesday morning for Blood and Treasure, to do some voiceover work. And then go get COVID tested again at Paramount. At Warner Brothers, and then drive back down to Oceanside, and then get ready for the next day's shoot, which will be for episode 6, and then come home on Friday night. I'll probably take my kids with me. They're gonna have a great time because right now they're learning from distant learning on the computer. So So for them to be at a hotel, it's going to be like vacation for them.
Of course.
So at this time, it's good to
Sounds
be
good.
busy. Yeah, and I left my regular job, my insurance job. I have 5 more years to go, and I booked. My agent set me out for This Is Us. We booked that, and she set me out for Animal Kingdom. We booked that, and then of course, work wanted me to set my priorities straight, so I pretty much gave them back their company car, their computer, and so I said, "Thank you very much." Uh, so I'm back. I'm back to my career. 5 years a little too early, but of course, in this business, when things happen, you can't say, "Oh, catch me on the next round." That's not going to happen. You just have to go with it. So I'm back to acting for good now. So I might, you know, hopefully you'll see more of me.
You hope so.
And it sounds like this role was, I mean, not really made for you, but it sounds like you were pretty much perfect for it. Like I said, it sounds like it was meant to be, even if it wasn't what your plan was.
Oh yeah, for This Is Us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's you know, the funny thing was my kids. I came home and they said, "Hey, we saw the episodes. Dad, can you be more like Hi instead of yourself?" We would love that. They both they both shook on it, and then they approached me with it. So I thought, what? So, um, but they're seeing they're happy. It's one of those things where they help me with the lines and everything, and for them it's exciting because they see the lines come to life, and they're mumbling the lines during watching the show. you know so they were really happy, and of course they had to keep a hush hush, so they would call grandma and talk to her, and she would ask about the show and dad's thing, and they would have to keep quiet. They're pretty good at keeping secrets because I signed an NDA. I didn't really tell anybody until that day of when the show aired. That's how I. That's how hard I kept it from telling anybody. Yeah.
That was a hard secret.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And couldn't tell anything to my wife either.
Oh
And,
wow.
yeah, and I had ex-girlfriends that contacted me through Facebook and text, said, "Hey, you're gonna be on the show. What about this? What about that?" I'm like, "No, can't tell you." Yeah, and they're like, "I'm your ex." So I'm like, "Well, I don't even tell my wife." And my kids, my kids have to keep a hush hush also. So because they read the script. Yeah. But yeah, it's been a crazy ride. Who would have thought, 41 years ago, coming to the States, who would have thought, oh yeah, I'm going to be an actor, because being in an Asian household, doctor, engineers, I was going to be a doctor actually when I went to college, but I had a change of heart. um,
So what did your
yeah.
wife think you were doing during this when you couldn't tell her?
She understood. She's like, "Oh, okay." She comes home, she's tired, face wearing the mask, all red, everything, hands all pruny, and she's like, goes to sleep,
She doesn't
uh,
care.
crashes out. Yeah, yeah. And she knows, the process, and she's known me like that since, oh my gosh, since we met in 1995. So she's used to it. Things like I normally don't drink, so one time I wanted to get drunk for the camera just to see what it would feel like, and so she would line up 5 shots of tequila, and she said, "Oh, you can't just have one, you gotta have 5." And so I downed 5 shots in less than 2 minutes, and
Oh,
numb on the face and everything, and then 15 minutes into it, you see me saying, "Excuse me," and then just like pass out on the sofa. And then 45 minutes after that, you see a figure walking into frame with the sheet and just toss it over me and walks away. And that's my wife. That was my wife. And the next day I said, "Hey, why don't you, wake me up?" "Well, you want to feel what it feels like. How's your head?" And so she would play along. She'd like, "Okay, yeah, he's researching." So
nice.
Yeah, that's how supportive she is.
Have a supportive spouse.
Yeah.
So
No,
with, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
where's everybody from, if I may ask? I'm from LA.
I'm
I'm
from
from Ohio.
I'm from Pennsylvania. Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. Pennsylvania. And then Amanda, you're from?
Dallas.
Oh, okay.
Melanie.
Oh,
And
I'm from Ohio.
oh, okay. So pretty much different. And did you all know each other beforehand, or did you just start the page and then everyone came together? And
Well,
Yeah.
Shelby
I,
started the page.
I see.
me and my co-owner Jeanette started the page together. This Is Us was actually the first page that we started. And we had no idea what we were doing. We had no idea that it was going to blow up as much as it did.
Yeah.
And then we actually like pretty much recruited members to help us as the groups got bigger. And then as time went on, we started adding more groups too, which we actually have 11 now in our franchise, if that's what you want to call it.
Wow.
And we have an amazing group of people that help us. Amanda is another one of the owners, but she was with us basically from the start. And
Amazing.
then Melanie is one of the admins, and she's been with us for a while as well, and she's in most of the other groups as well.
Wow. That's amazing. I, you know, the directors, especially Kay, our director, she said, the fans are going to go crazy for the character, about the character. And I said, oh, okay. You don't think anything of it. You just, at the time, I thought, I got this gig. I'm gonna, I guess with the money, I'm gonna get the kids braces. I'm thinking, okay, braces for you, and maybe a crown for me, and maybe we'll think about fixing up mommy's car for mom. I didn't think too far beyond that, but they told me that things are gonna happen. The fans are gonna go crazy about the character and this and that, and I thought, oh, okay, and didn't know what to expect, and sure enough, it's like, wow, it's it's an amazing feeling. I used this word before. Now I'll it feels so surreal.
Yeah.
And I'm very fortunate to get hired on, because otherwise I wouldn't have met yourselves, and other people. I've had people from oh my gosh, Japan, that invited me to Japan. Oh, come stay with us. I had friends, new friends from Libya, that asked maybe for a video to say hello to her friend. I'm like, yeah, okay, hi, and other people from different parts of, like the UK, oh, I used to act when I was young. Come stay with me. I'll show you around London. I'm from West London, and then other people from all over the United States. And if I didn't take that chance, if I didn't audition, I would not have met all these wonderful people and yourselves. So this has been a really fun ride.
Sounds like it. Sounds like an amazing journey for you.
Yeah.
We appreciate you being here with us too. I know you're probably really, really busy, so the fact that you took time out of your schedule to do this really means a lot to us.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm flattered. I'm actually very flattered. And I wish I was able to go on the set before this, so that way I can ask Sterling and Susie for a video and send it to you guys next time when I'm on the set, because they're all about the fans. They all, because the minute they found out my wife's a nurse, because Susie's brother is a doctor. And so she's like, oh, we got to do a video for her. We got to do a shout out. So I said, oh, okay. So I just pretty much played along. And they're like that. They're just wonderful people that will break out into a song, a dance, or whatever, and even after like X amount of hours, everyone's tired, but that the energy is just, it's just phenomenal. Sitting around for about 10 hours doing scenes after scenes, and then still have that kind of energy, that's really amazing of them. Rarely, actors like, oh God, I want to get out of here, but not them. And they're there for the fans. And this is from, listening to the conversations, and because you're in a small tight space, and listening to people talk, and the crew members, and it's all about the fans. And the show, of course, wouldn't exist without everybody tuning in. And so I'm very fortunate, and I'm um there's rumors on the set that there might be something happening after the show ends, after the sixth season, maybe some sort of spin-off or something. Who knows? But I keep my fingers crossed.
We would all love that.
Yeah.
Me too.
We think so much.
You won't have anybody fighting them.
I just want to work. Of course, now I don't have a regular job. I better book some more. So yeah.
You do you have time for one more question?
Sure, absolutely. Anytime. I will have time for you guys anytime. Um, it's just scheduling, but yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I knew that you said that you were going somewhere after this, so I just wanted to make sure. We don't want to make you late or anything.
Not at all.
Okay. With everything going on with the pandemic and everything, and things being so different, with your wife being so involved with the COVID stuff, how do you find your peace, and how important is like your family life? Like, how hard is it to juggle your family life versus your schedule, your wife's schedule, your kids' schedules?
Um, we take it day by day. I really don't have a plan. Like today, after everything was done, there was a cemetery nearby, so I thought, I got to record my lines for Animal Kingdom. So I drove to the cemetery. you know, the Forest Lawn Hollywood, I think it's what the cemetery is. So I drove up there and I parked my wagon underneath the tree. I recorded my lines, and I thought, okay, what am I going to do next? Oh, I better go get better go to the grocery store, get dinner, make dinner for the kids. And so I brought home dinner, and then later on I'll go get my wife's car washed before she heads out to work. And you just take it day by day. And people say, oh, how do you plan? I'm the worst planner out there. Um, if I was to plan ahead, I wouldn't adhere to the schedule. Last night, my kids ate dinner at 12:30 in the morning. The night before, 11 o'clock. So we it's teamwork. So they know to, one would take out something from the freezer to thaw out to feed the snakes, and then the other one would feed the iguanas and the tortoises and the turtles, and then I would just delegate. Um, and then, of course, if they're hungry before I come home, they know to make themselves something to eat. And then when I come home, I make dinner, but they have to watch me, put the video games down. They would have to watch me. So that way, in case I'm too busy later on, they'll know how to cook. So we make it work just day by day. And like this weekend, I might just take them down to San Diego with me, and they'll stay there and come back with me. And my wife's now working night times, overnight shifts until her coworker comes back from an injury, and then we'll figure out the following week. But yeah, it's just day by day.
Nice.
That's awesome. I'm
Yeah.
sure that it's really difficult with everything changing, and things are hard for everybody, but being actually in, like, dealing with it on the daily, I'm sure it's very, very difficult.
It is. But the thing is, if you, gosh, my kids know this. If you've been through, you know, it's it's not for siblings. So I have 9 brothers and a sister. It's bad, but it's not that bad considering what we went through before this. A war, communism was hell, and
Mhm.
starvation camps hard. And then coming here, learning English and facing, things like racism, prejudice, that was tough, but this year, everyone's going through it. So you just make it work, um, yeah, it's just I'm very thankful to be alive and thankful to as much as people complain about how the system doesn't work this and the system doesn't work that, it's still a great country, and everyone going through it. So I choose to see like the more positive side of things. And I have little things I look forward to, like this, for instance. For the past 3 days I've been looking forward to this. That's why right when someone said, "Hey, can you stick around?" Like, nope, I gotta go. I gotta Zoom. So, like on a Friday, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go home. I gotta Zoom. So I went to the grocery store real fast and came straight home. And you look forward to the nice little things in your daily life.
Well, we appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Melanie, do you have any more questions?
No, I think we're good. I appreciate you taking some time and talking to us today, Vien. It's really
Absolutely.
nice.
And Melanie, contact me on Facebook. Add me, please. Add me on Facebook. Probably the one with the short military haircut. That's the one I check the most. And if you have any questions before you go on, before you go on stage, and then I'll talk you through, before you go on stage. Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Absolutely. We'll talk, and then you'll go on. You'll break a leg, and then and then you're back in no time into the theater.
Yeah. That's the plan.
Good for you. Enjoy it, though. Enjoy it. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here with us. We really appreciate it.
You bet. Thanks for having me. And Maureen, Amanda, Melanie, Shelby, thank you. This has been great. So anytime you need something, please reach out.
All right, we'll do it.